My nose itches. Ugh.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know.
What's up? It's Kelsey and I'm back for another video. Okay, so before I move on to the video, I gotta give my 2-comment shout out. I always do. The first comment goes to
Nightcore Pika.
Thanks so much for the comment on the video. I love it when you guys leave comments. Seriously, that's why I give you a shout out. Second shout out goes to
Cody Mitchell.
Thank you for your comment. I pick 2 winners from the comments every single video and give you a shout out. So if you want a shout out, then comment below. Okay, today's video is a topic that was requested by my followers on Instagram. Right there. See? Check it out. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, feel free to head on over there and go give me a follow. I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff on there as well as post about the projects I'm working on. Back to the point. I asked my Instagram followers, what do you want advice on? And so many of you said that you wanted help with dating and with boys. Well, lucky for you, that's a subject I have a lot of experience in. I'm still single. I don't have a boyfriend, I'm not married, but I have dated quite a bit over the last few years, and so I am happy to bestow whatever knowledge I have about the subject on you. Okay, over and over and over, I kept getting the question, how do you tell if a boy actually likes you? Like, how do you tell if he's just being nice or if he's just being your friend? Well, I have a few answers for that, but you're gonna have to stay tuned to the very end of the video for the best one and the most helpful one. I promise you're gonna wanna stick around for that one, okay? So don't click out of this video until you finish it. The first way you can tell if a boy really likes you or if he's just being your friend is by just kind of reading some nonverbal cues. Body language is a really great way to tell. Like, how does he act around you? What are his physical cues? Is he leaning towards you? Is he keeping space from you? Is he making eye contact with you? So on and so forth. For example, 2 nights ago I was at a Super Bowl party and there was a guy there that was really nice, but he was clearly very interested in me because he was doing everything in his power to be very close to me. I was a little uncomfortable because I don't really know him, but he was like rubbing arms with me, putting his hand on my shoulder. There was no doubt in my mind that that guy had interest and he didn't even have to say anything about it. Nonverbal cues can be really helpful, so be sure to pay attention to those. If the guy that you're into is not really like giving you any physical cues, then it's hard to say because he might just be shy. But for the most part, if a guy is interested, you'll be able to tell through his body language. I already mentioned eye contact, but again, eye contact. The big way you can tell if somebody likes you is if they make a point to make eye contact with you and if they make a point to look at you frequently. When we're talking to people, we don't like habitually make eye contact. Yeah, sure, you make eye contact, but then you look away, whatever. There's just kind of a different look in someone's eye when they like you, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you've had somebody like you before, so you probably know what I'm talking about. There's usually just like kind of a little glimmer or like a little gleam of something in their eye, and it may not even be like super significant, but it's probably there. The other thing I would say is look at if the person goes out of their way to do things with you or to contact you. I have been caught in so many situations where I'm the one that's putting in the effort, where like I reach out first or like I make plans first, but after that point, if the guy doesn't follow up and put forth effort, I can generally assume he's probably not really interested, which is fine. If they're making efforts to do things or make plans and invite you, that's definitely a really good sign. But of course, maybe the guy is just your friend and I see that's the problem. So then it kind of comes back to the vibe. Does he feel interested? Can you see the eye contact? Can you see the body language? So on and so forth. But the tricky thing is, sometimes even with all of those things, you still can't tell. I have problems with that too myself. Like, story time. My last class in college ever, and there's this guy in my class that I've had a crush on for like most of my college career. I'd like see him around school and be like, oh, he's super cute. And then he ended up in my group, which I was super stoked about. Anyways, I had a big crush on him and I was applying all of the things I just told you. I was looking at the eye contact, I was looking at his interest level, I was looking at whatever other different things that he would do. Like, the way that he would look at me was like very much the kind of look that you would give someone you were interested. He would make eye contact with me, he'd like start conversations with me, he'd ask me about what I'm doing. He was really flirty, honestly. And then after class, he would like walk with me to my car, and like if we were going the same direction, he'd be like, oh, are you going this way? Oh, I'll just go with you this way too. Okay, right? So like totally gave me the idea that he was maybe interested. Well, anyways, I was definitely making it known that I was interested, and I one time said, hey, it was awesome working on that class project with you. It'd be super fun to go do something sometime. Just like super neutral, but just putting it out there that I was interested. And he texted me back and he shot me down.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
And he said, hey Kelsey, like, I think you're awesome, but really I just think you're a great friend and I don't want to lead you on or give you any incorrect ideas about what I view our friendship as. I was like, It killed me. I was so sad. I remember walking around Walmart for like an hour just being sad with my friend. But we were getting ready to go backpack Europe, so it didn't last for long. Definitely a bummer. So that's a perfect example of a time that I was very savvy and reading all the signs, and I was still wrong. On the other hand, I was at a party last week for Sundance, and there was a guy on the other side of the room who kept making eye contact with me over and over and over, and I was like, okay, I think this guy's interested in me. And sure enough, 5 minutes later, he walked up and started talking to me and started getting to know me and asked for my number. So things like that, it was really obvious. I knew he was interested in me, I knew he was gonna come up and talk to me, and I knew he was gonna ask for my number, and he did. So sometimes you can tell really easily, and then other times you can't tell and you just get it wrong. And I feel like when you're older, it's easier because basically you can just say hey, I'd love to go on a date with you sometime, and then you find out real quick if they're not interested or if they want to hang out with you. But if you're younger, I get that it's a little bit tricky because you're at school and you're at lunch and you're in these social circles and you can't tell if the person likes you or not. But one thing I've learned is that most of the time, if a guy is interested in you, he will probably make it known in some way or another. If there's anything I wish I could tell my younger self, it would be to stop worrying so much about guys who clearly didn't care.
There would be guys that probably many of you are dealing with where I couldn't tell if he liked me, and I kind of wondered, and he would give me little nuggets, but not enough, and I just wasn't quite sure, and I would stress about it, and I would just worry about it, and I'd try talking to him, and at the end of the day, if a guy is interested in you, he'll put forth effort and he'll make it known.
Maybe he's a little interested, but not that much. Those are the guys that it's just not worth your time. Sometimes as women, we think a lot, we overthink a lot, we analyze a lot, we want to be in control of things and create scenarios and stuff like that, and I totally get that. But I've learned that it's really, really, really important to just trust the guy. And that doesn't mean that you should let the guy do all of the work, but it's a really good indicator as to whether or not the guy is interested. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, just check his effort level. And I know that sucks. Believe me, I know. I can't tell you how many guys I've dated that have been mildly interested but just not put in enough effort. It sucks because you're kind of in limbo. You're okay, I think you're interested, but clearly I'm not worth any effort for you, so and again, I used to spend so much time on those guys. Now I have learned to move on. Frankly, I don't have time for that anymore. So I just don't stress about it and I just keep going until I find someone that thinks I'm awesome. My friend Marin taught me that lesson. There was a guy that I had this massive crush on a few years ago. His name was Aaron, and we were going to church to hear him speak. And I remember telling her about all the things that I was trying to do to see if he liked me, and how I was stressed and nervous, and I was hoping he liked me, but it made me anxious and I just wasn't really sure. And she looked at me and she said, Kelsey,
You realize that's not how it's supposed to be, right? You realize that if you like somebody and they like you and it's right, it should put you at ease. It should make you feel peaceful. It should calm you. You shouldn't feel anxious and stressed and nervous and wondering if he actually likes you and what you're gonna say and how the conversation's gonna go. That's a really good indicator that maybe this isn't the best situation for you to be investing your emotions into.
And I was oh, yeah, she's right. And you know what? The reason why I was so stressed and so anxious is because it's the same thing. He was interested, but not enough. Not enough to make effort, not enough to put in time, not enough to put in some work. If I had known then what I know now, I would have just moved on and waited for someone that was really willing to show me that they were interested. Because believe me, they're out there. And once you experience it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Once you find your first love or the first person that really shows up for you, you'll know to never settle for anything less. So I guess the main takeaways from this video are, you can check for some nonverbal cues like eye contact and body language. You should definitely check for effort. See if they're putting in effort for you. And sometimes you really just can't tell. That you just can't. And it's really not worth holding on to guys that stress you out or make you wonder forever. And the last and final one is, at the end of the day, just go for it. Literally, that guy that I told you about, the one from college, I was super, super bummed that he wasn't interested, but I'm so glad I know now because I was just able to move on, right? If I hadn't just gone for it, I probably would have just wondered forever and then been confused when he wasn't making effort, but he was leading me on to think that he was interested. It would have just been messy. So I'm just glad I asked. I'm just glad I put forth some effort to find out, and I would say you should do the same thing. It hurts a little bit, the rejection stings a little bit, but then you can move on and find someone else who thinks you're awesome. So I hope that was helpful. If you found this video helpful, please leave me a comment below. If you have any other videos you want to see about dating or boys or any other advice topics, please let me know. I'm always looking for recommendations. Okay, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll be back soon with another video. Love you, sis. Bye.